I think her love of racing is so good for the sport generally.
You can't underestimate the value of her support for horse racing.
Her Majesty the Queen making her way to the paddock.
It's part of the tradition. It brings great glamour to the sport, and also she's a very knowledgeable queen about racing itself.
It is a really right royal occasion.
It's just an honour to have her involved, and I think we're all very lucky in that she's got such a strong passion for it.
Generous. The Queen.
I've seen her chat to stable lads and girls like her best friend.
They're off!
It's an honour for me to ride for her, and it's just good for racing in general that she's such a keen interest, and long may it last.
People are truly appreciative of what she's done and continues to do.
Generous takes it, Generous is the winner.
This is the lovely thing about racing, is horses bring us all together. And she of course has been an enormous help in that way, and I think everyone involved in racing is just so grateful that she loves it so much.
I've been very blessed to be able to ride for her, and to be in her company is, it's a privilege to be at the races when she's there.
The hats go in the air, and it's a royal triumph.
I was very nervous going out to meet her the first time, but she put me at ease immediately. She has a sparkle in her eyes when she's watching the horses walk around the paddock. She just really loves her racing.
I enjoyed immensely putting the colours on. I felt very proud when I wore them.
Purple, gold braid, scarlet sleeves and black cap.
They're unique. You're wearing tradition, you're wearing glamour, you're wearing royal, and it is, is something that you never forget all your life.
And it was nice to go out and ride a winner for her. Her face would beam, and it made you feel good.
When I won the race and I was walking back in and she was there, and it was just, I can't believe this is actually happening.
First number 4, Momentary.
I remember my first Royal Ascot winner for Free Agent in the Chesham. That was a special day.
Coming away, Free Agent, it's a royal winner.
And the BBC got a great shot of her in the Royal Box. I think everyone came out of the grandstand to greet the Royal winner.
I've been joined by someone who's certainly very qualified to know about the Queen, because Julian Muscat, author and journalist, has written a book called Her Majesty's Pleasure. What inspired you to do that, Julian?
Well, John, it's been a long time since a book of this kind has been written. I think the last one was probably done in 1976 from memory, and it's the Jubilee year, and we thought it was about time that the Queen's interest in racing was chronicled again.
Did it take you a long time to do this?
Yes, it took about 14, 15 months all told, quite a lot of research, quite a lot of interviews, talking to all sorts of people, very helpful with it.
And what did you learn yourself?
Just exactly how passionate the Queen is and how much she knows. I mean, John Warren, her racing manager, is one of the renowned judges and a great thinker about horses, but every time he speaks to her, he says he learns something new.
Yeah. Now, we've got the Derby here this year. We've got a favourite in Camelot, but before we get there, I want you to tell a little story, an anecdote. Oh, hang on, we've got the prices actually. Before we do that, we've got 8 to 13, 5 to 1. What do you fancy, Julian?
I think it's a one-horse race, I'm afraid. I think Camelot is going to win, and I think he's going to win with a real show of strength. He won the Guineas over a trip that was way too short for him, in my opinion, and I can't see anything else really troubling him here today.
Now, back to that anecdote, or a couple of them. What are they, please?
Well, the one that I enjoyed particularly was a time when the Queen was watching some jockeys and stable lads ride work, and it all went wrong. There was a kerfuffle, and the lads came back into the room and were using the most industrial language imaginable without the Queen, without knowing them, seeing the Queen was there. And of course, the huge embarrassment when they realised it, because she turned around to them and said, "Don't forget that I've been married to a sailor most of my life."
That's very good. But this is the one I like particularly. Go on.
Well, yes, it concerns Claire, actually, a young Claire, because it's a little-known fact that she was given her first pony by the Queen. And one day on a stable visit, Claire was holding the pony in line, and the Queen came up and patted it and said to Claire, "Well, this pony must be 24 now." And Claire said, "No, she's 25. And the Queen looked at her and said, "Well, I think you'll find it probably is 24, Claire." "No, it's 25. So that was Claire off to a tee from a very young age, very strident and very committed in her opinion.
Well, Julian, thank you very much for your time. Good luck with you. But Miss Balding arguing with the Queen? Surely not.
Honestly, you should have heard what my father said to me afterwards. It really didn't go down. I thought I was right.
How old were you then?
Probably 5 or 6, maybe.
You could get away with
Only
it.
little, like my nephews.
Yes, yeah, well, you get away with it then.
Well, the Carlton House story was a tremendous occasion right the way through.
The Queen is at the centre of the story because she owns the favourite, Carlton House.
The buzz was hugely exciting.
Hundreds of thousands here at Epsom and millions around the country and around the world will be hoping to send her victorious, happy and glorious.
Everybody would love to be putting Ryan and Moore's boots on today.
It's a class race, it's a class lineup, and let's hope we have a classic result.
It was a huge build-up.
He is a horse in the news, he's a Derby favourite, everybody wants this horse to win for Her Majesty.
They're off and running.
Didn't have a great start, and she was a Tattenham corner.
But the leader's got away on Tattenham corner. It's Memphis, Tennessee, Joseph O'Brien, 6 lengths clear, and Treasure Beach giving chase. Here comes Carlton House, Ryan Moore down the outside. Here's Carlton House, called on for the final front. Treasure Beach in front with 100 yards to go. Treasure Beach in front, Carlton House trying hard. Paul Moore is swooping. Treasure Beach just holding on. Grabbed by Paul Moore. Paul Moore's got up to win it. Paul Moore has won it from Treasure Beach.
Sadly, the horse finished third and had some issues on the way. He lost his shoe. But that's racing, and the Queen will accept it with tremendous grace, of course, in her way, and steadfastly will continue on to produce more good horses.
The Epsom Derby is the world's greatest classic horse race.
Welcome to Epsom for one of the biggest days in the sporting calendar.
Derby Day is always a very special national occasion.
The Royal Association with Epsom goes back 300 years.
Her Majesty the Queen making her way to the paddock.
This year, with the Jubilee celebrations only days away, it is a really right royal occasion.
A great moment this in any year, but all the more so in Jubilee year.
Can he win the Derby for the Queen? A nation awaits.
And Dunfermline now going into the lead.
Carlton House now strides to the front for Her Majesty the Queen.
Would Carrozza hold on? It was neck and neck. Highcliffe.
And it's going to be a royal victory, I think.
Coming away, it's a royal winner.
Jubilee fever seems to be on everyone.
A day that Her Majesty the Queen tries not to miss.
And to top it all, Her Majesty the Queen is here to see the race.
Good.
Absolutely. And we see the Duke of Edinburgh and Jeannie Carnarvon there on the right, the widow of the late Lord Carnarvon, who for so long was the racing manager to the Queen and great friends as well of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, and the Countess of Carnarvon and Prince Philip looking down on Mick Shannon in the winner's enclosure, the place you want to be on Derby Day. Meanwhile, the royal party have made their way down to the paddock, the Queen making her way into this parade ring, alongside Anthony Kane, the chairman of Epsom Racecourse, and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, right behind her. And Her Majesty will have a very close look at these 6 runners in the Coronation Cup, a race that she won herself with Oriel. The year after he finished runner-up in the Derby, he came back here to Epsom and he won the Coronation Cup in the following year. And this is the lineup for the Diamond Jubilee Coronation Cup this year. And also watching these horses very closely, the Queen making her inspections, and she'll take notes in her race card and then see if her eye is correct as when she actually sees the horses counted down to the start, and whether they do themselves justice and run up to the full capability of their form. And you see her looking so closely at these horses, and there are some lovely animals here, all of them older horses, you know, going up to
Diamond Jubilee Coronation Cup, really special occasion for Epsom, and Her Majesty now coming out to present the trophy, which
is a great thrill for everybody connected with this racecourse, everybody connected with British racing.
I'm outside of the demo. I'm at the side. Go on, Aidan. I'm at the side of the state. Don't bang this camera on line.
Your Royal Highnesses, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, Her Majesty the Queen has kindly agreed to present the trophy for this renamed Diamond Jubilee Coronation Cup. Group 1 race over the Derby course and distance of 1.5 miles. It's been won in scintillating style for the second year running by St Nicholas Abbey. So please welcome onto the stage here the winning owners, Michael Tabor, Derek Smith, and representing his mother, JP Magna Jr. The horse is, of course, a superstar, St Nicholas Abbey, but so too is his trainer, who is winning this race for the 6th time in 8 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Aidan O'Brien. And what about the young man on board? He is just 19 years old. He has nerves of steel. He has incredible talent. He is Joseph O'Brien. And this, of course, the team that will link up with the odds-on favourite Camelot in the Investec Derby, still to come at 4 o'clock. For now, they celebrate success in the Diamond Jubilee Coronation Cup. Congratulations to the team associated with St Nicholas Abbey, who wins this race for the 2nd year running. And Anthony Kane, the chairman of Epsom Racecourse, took the opportunity while the Queen was on the podium to present the trophy for the Coronation Cup of giving her an album in which are photographs of Derby winners and Derby incidents over the years. And the Queen is a great historian of racing as well, and will absolutely love this and will study it in detail. A fabulous gift to mark the Diamond Jubilee. Oh, I suspect Anthony may have to hang on to it and make sure it's delivered later to Windsor Castle or to Buckingham Palace. But the Queen, beaming as she chatted there to Joseph O'Brien and to Aidan as well, and to the owners of St Nicholas Abbey. I mean, a real superstar horse, and great to see him win in such good style. And applause from the assembled crowd around this circular winners' enclosure. This must be our gang. It is indeed. Her Majesty the Queen is coming into the paddock now to have a good look at these horses. Just 9 runners. Camelot, the odds-on favourite, the one I'm sure the Queen will look at immediately and recognise as she does what a hugely impressive stamp of a horse he is, and so well bred as well. He's by the great stallion Monjeu, who died earlier this year, who's already a female jockey to ride in the Derby after Alex Greaves back in 1996, actually, I think, yeah, the year maybe Sir Percy won it. The Queen, with John Moran, her racing advisor, her breeding advisor next to her, and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, next to her as well, having a really good look at these, and I'm sure examining the breeding of them as well. And she'll be interested in those that are by Monjeu because of Motivator, her now stallion, who won the Derby here for the Royal Ascot Racing Club. And let's go and find Rishi again. Treasure Beach not beaten far last year. Her Majesty the Queen looking down, and she'll be thrilled actually that this horse, like her horse Motivator, who now stands at
she'll be working out what mares to send to him.
To send to Camelot. He's by Monjeu.
This is the lovely thing about racing, is horses bring us all together. And she of course has been an enormous help in that way, and I think everyone involved in racing is just so grateful that she loves it so much.
I've been very blessed to be able to ride for her, and to be in her company is, you know, it's a privilege to be at the races when she's there.
The hats go in the air, and it's a royal triumph.
I was very nervous going out to meet her the first time, but she put me at ease immediately. She has a sparkle in her eyes when she's watching the horses walk around the paddock. She just really loves her racing.
I enjoyed immensely putting the colours on, I felt very proud when I wore them.
Purple, gold braid, scarlet sleeves and black cap.
They're unique.
I think her love of racing is so good for the sport generally.
You can't underestimate the value of her support for horse racing.
Her Majesty the Queen making her way to the paddock.
It's part of the tradition. He brings great glamour to the sport, and also she's a very knowledgeable queen about racing itself.
It is a really right royal occasion.
It's just an honour to have her involved, and I think we're all very lucky.
You're wearing tradition, you're wearing glamour, you're wearing royal, and it is, you know, it is something that you never forget all your life.
And it was nice to go out and ride a winner for her. Her face would beam, and it was just, it made you feel good.
When I won the race and I was walking back in and she was there, and it was just, you know, I can't believe this is actually happening.
First number 4, Momentary.
I remember our first Royal Ascot winner for Free Agent in the Cheshire. That was a special day.
Coming away, Free Agent, it's a...
And she's got such a strong passion for it.
Generous. The Queen.
I've seen her chat to stable lads and girls like her best friend.
They're off!
It's an honour for me to ride for her, and it's just good for racing in general that she's such a keen interest, and long may it last.
People are truly appreciative of what she's done and continues to do.